Hello, party people, and welcome to the first episode of the Mug Life podcast. I'm Brittany, and before we jump into today's episode, which is going to be a game changer for you, if you're a mom who is like really struggling with motivation to continue with your health and nutrition goals that you made in the new year. Right now, it's like mid-January when this podcast comes out, and I know what it feels like to be like crawling towards your goals and just all the temptations and all the things getting in the way, kids getting sick, kids going back to school, routines changing. There's a lot happening. And so this podcast is for you if you need support and just like motivation to keep going. I'm going to help you find that motivation from within so that we don't end up in this same place next year, wondering where your motivation went and what happened to those goals. Because if you follow the balance framework that I teach you, that I'm going to be talking about, if you're my one-on-one client, you will be taught all about that. But in this podcast, I'm going to be feeding you little bits of my framework that I teach my clients so that you don't end up here again, where you're like, oh, I have no motivation to work out. I have no motivation to cook or meal prep or do any of those things. I've got you. So before we hop into that, I just want to give you a little backstory about what this podcast is about, what you can expect, and that way you kind of know for the upcoming episodes. So I'll be releasing episodes bi-weekly as of right now. And all of my podcasts will be filmed here in my car, and you're going to be sitting passenger seat with me. Mug is optional. Lid is definitely optional. But I wanted to talk to you why it's called the Mug Life Podcast. So I want you to think about this coffee as life, because coffee is life, right? Take a sip real quick. So good. So I kind of would joke, and I would post on Instagram, and I would be driving to school. I'm a teacher, I'm a kindergarten teacher as well. And I'd be driving to school and I would be drinking my coffee, and I would like snap a picture of it and be like, living life on the edge of a coffee cup, doing things my way, mug life. And that's kind of where it all came from. And then people started tagging me in posts of them like holding their coffee mug, and it became a thing. And it kind of became a part of my brand and a part of who I am as a coach. But then also I realized it has a lot to do with who I am as a mom as well. And it kind of like breaks the rules, right? Like if you're drinking a mug of coffee, like hot coffee, like, and I don't live on a paved road. I live on a gravel road in like a country road. Lots of potholes. Like I'm taking risks, okay? And I could spill this at any moment, but I choose to do things the way I want to do it. And it's worth the risk because it's part of the experience, right? And I hope that this podcast helps you learn that you don't have to follow the rules. You don't have to use a lid. You don't have to filter yourself. And you can live life the way you want to in any size mug you want to carry. And you can balance it all one sip at a time. And this podcast is going to help you do that with your health and your nutrition. Also just in mom life, your body image, just all the things that come with being a mom and just trying to live a healthy and happy life. And it's a much more holistic approach that I really think you're going to love. So with that being said, a little quick backstory about me. Take a sip real quick. I am a mom of two. I have a 3-year-old and a almost 12-year-old. It's a big age gap. Both of my postpartum experiences were drastically different. I will go into depth in other podcasts about those experiences because I think they will be helpful for you, and they also help me become a better coach because both experiences have really turned me into the coach and the person that I am today. My first postpartum experience was all about losing the weight and hating myself skinny. I mean, I'm talking like trash bag over my body to sweat as much as possible because I thought like that's how I would get skinny. Like I just had to lose the weight. And I had no idea what I was doing. I was very, very young, and I just was like trying it all. I was doing every diet you can think of. And my second postpartum experience was completely different, and it was a total game changer. And I actually followed what I now call my balance framework with my clients. Of course, I didn't have a name for it then, but I realized like I could do things my way. I could do things the Mug Life way, and it didn't have to come out of hate for my body. It didn't have to come with just like following these strict dieting rules and restricting myself and not being able to enjoy the foods I want to enjoy and not having the experiences that I want to experience. I wanted to experience life. And I wanted to look good in my body. I wanted to feel good in my body. And there's nothing wrong with having aesthetic goals, okay? And so on this podcast especially, I want you to know that if you are a mom who has like guilt around wanting to change your body and like look sexy in a bikini, feel pretty in your clothes, look in the mirror and be like, okay, like I feel attractive. I feel pretty. Like there's nothing wrong with that. And I think as a mom, we get this bad rep. Like we have to just be grateful. Well, you had babies. You should be so grateful you had babies. Like complaining about your body or like not liking what you see in the mirror, like that's being ungrateful. And no, sorry. No, it's not. It's completely normal to want to feel beautiful in your skin. And we live in a world where looks do matter. It's just a matter of fact. It's not the only thing that matters, but wanting to express yourself with your style, with your hair color, with your makeup, things like that, your physical body is how you move through the world. And if you look in the mirror every single day and hate what you see, how do you think that goes out to the rest of the world, right? What does it signal to the rest of the world? And so what's also great about this podcast is it's going to help you with body image, okay? That's something that I work through a lot, and I teach my clients how to learn how to nourish and respect their body into a healthy body size for them that they actually really like, with no guilt around wanting to change their body and having total body autonomy. And this self-love, I'm only gonna speak on this because I can just go on a rant, but this like self-love space that we're in right now, it's like, you know, love your body at every size. It's like totally 100%. But you shouldn't get shamed or like somebody call you narcissistic or like shallow if you want to just feel like you look a little bit better in your clothes. And obviously that's a matter of opinion. But with that being said, I'm going to jump right into today's podcast because there's so much juice you are going to squeeze out of this today. And then I have a little bite-sized piece to feed to you. Actually, it's going to be in the show notes. All of my podcasts are going to give you little bits and pieces and tastes of what it would be like to work with me one-on-one. And I hope by listening to this podcast, you walk away every single episode feeling like, oh, I feel so seen. She gets me. Like she actually gets me, and she's no bullshit. She just says it how it is. And then I get to walk away and I get to take what she taught me and I get to use it. And so in the show notes today, there is going to be a little like activity. I'm a teacher, so I don't know if I think activity is a wrong word. One of my clients will laugh at me when she hears this because I said it one other time with her and I can't think of the darn word, but it's not activity. It's, anyways, it's a thing. It's going to help you. And it's going to be in the show notes. So make sure you check that out. And so today we're going to be talking about what happens when you are mid-January or whatever time of the year, you've set some goals, you've been like kicking butt, you're doing all the things, and all of a sudden like something comes up. A kid gets sick, you're feeling tired, you didn't get enough sleep, there was a sleep regression, you have a family event or a wedding, and you kind of go off the rails, you have an emotional time, you're on your period and you're like, oh, like I just hate everything about everything. And like, I don't know about you, but like when I'm on my period, I just like, some days I'm just like, why? What's wrong with me? And it just, the world is ending. But then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on my period. It's okay. You just got to remind yourself the world is not ending. And so when we get to those points, especially as a mom, when we have to feel like I don't know about you, but I always feel like as a mom, I have to be on all the time. I don't want to be weak. And maybe that's just a me thing, but I've just grown up like with a chip on my shoulder because I was a young mom, but like always wanting to feel like I didn't need anybody's help. Like I can handle it. I can take care of it. Right. And as moms, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves, pressure to be perfect, to be the best mom. And when we start worrying about all the other things in our life and the dishes pile up in the sink and there's things to do with the kids, we begin to lose sight of what is important to us as a human. And one important thing that I don't hear talked about a lot is the idea that we can be a mom, but we can also be a human too, right? And I love being a mom, but I'm also Brittany. Like I have an identity that's not attached to being a mom. And I like to think about, actually one of the letters in balance is the E, and it's about empowerment and just really creating energy and empowerment out of your identity. And I'll talk about that more in another podcast. We're actually going to be talking about the C today for connection and core values, but I'm going to take a drink. Hang on. I start talking with my hands and then the coffee's going to be everywhere. And then it'll just be like a really embarrassing episode because I've never spilled my coffee before in my car. Anywho, so as moms, we want to feel like we are somebody other than just a mom, right? Like we want to be a human and wanting to change your body and having goals. And that's why New Year, you're probably thinking like, okay, this is my year to like grab the bull by the horns and I'm going to start showing up for me. It's not going to be about everybody else. Like, no, I'm putting my foot down. This is the year that I start taking care of myself. Because as a mom, we're always taking care of everybody else. Always. And then we're worried about what other people think about if we're taking care of other people. Like, we're taking care of our kids, like, well enough. It's crazy. It's crazy. Maybe I'm just crazy. And so the first thing I want to mention to you is that when you are at this point, and you might be at this point, it's mid-January and you're just not feeling it. That's normal. I want to tell you right now, it is so normal to lose motivation. Motivation is not a renewable resource. We can't just like pull it out of our pocket and plug ourselves into the wall. Like, motivation has to come from something. And that new you energy only lasts so long, okay? Because things like getting up for a workout, or when you're really freaking tired, or cooking a meal after working all day long, or just taking care of the kids all day and then having to cook a meal or meal prep or do any of those things, it's freaking hard. It's hard, especially as a mom. Like, if I didn't have a toddler wrapped around my ankle all the time, I could probably get a lot of shit done. But I digress. I could go on a rant about that, but it's hard. And I want you to understand that if you are struggling right now to keep up with your goals, I want you to just take a breath and I want you to remind yourself, like, what I am doing is hard. But because it's hard, it's a sign that I am making changes. Because if these changes were easy and they didn't require any motivation, everybody would be fucking doing it. Everybody would be bikini body. Like, everybody would be so happy. Nobody would have to hire a coach. Like, nobody would need accountability. No, it's just not that way. And so just understand that it's hard. It is so hard, but you can do it. And what I'm about to talk to you about today is really going to help you figure it out. My voice just cracked. It's really going to help you dig deep. Okay. So let's talk about what are core values. So your core values, the way I explain it to my clients, your core values are like what you think about when you think of yourself, or what you hope people think about when they think of you. It's, also like what you see yourself doing day to day. What are you drawn to? What is something you truly love? What are you passionate about? Usually those types of questions will help you figure out what your core values are. And so, for example, one of my core values is family, because I'm a mom and I value my family and they're important to me, right? Another one is nature. If you follow me on Instagram, then you know that I'm always outside walking and hiking with my boys and being outdoors. I'm so lucky to live in a place where there's like beautiful hiking trails and like nature. I value nature. I value adventure, right? And hopefully you see that I also value authenticity and being unfiltered and being raw and being real. Hence the Mug Life podcast thing, right? And so authenticity and family and nature, all those things I value. So those are like your core values. Honesty, that's a very common one. If you value love, if you value play, like if you value freedom, maybe your religion is super important to you and your relationship with God, like whatever it may be, right? Those are your values. And if we can attach our goals to our values, it becomes a whole nother level, baby. A whole nother level. Because I'm going to give you like a little example here. Let's say you want to lose 20 pounds. Okay. This is a random example. Like, I want to lose 20 pounds. That's my goal. Like, for this new year, I want to lose 20 pounds this year. Okay, great. Like, total body autonomy. If you want to lose 20 pounds, you go, girl. Now, just wanting to lose 20 pounds, I mean, it's only as motivating as it can be, as is. And then eventually, when you are literally just like sleep-deprived zombie, your toddler isn't taking naps anymore, you're exhausted, you feel overstimulated. Like, what happens when that lose 20 pounds is like, okay, like, I can't. I'm too tired. But if we can attach and dig a little bit deeper into the why behind the 20-pound goal, that's when the magic happens. So let's say, okay, so why do you want to lose 20 pounds? I'd say to you, why do you want to lose 20 pounds? Well, you might mention like, well, I want to feel confident in my skin. I want more confidence. I want to feel pretty. Okay, great. But why do you want to be confident? What does confidence do for you, right? Because the majority of the time, we don't, like, the 20 pounds is just like 20 pounds. We're not after shedding that 20 pounds off our body. What we're really after is how that's going to make us feel. Okay? I'm going to say that again. You're not really after that 20 pounds. You're after the feeling you're going to get when that 20 pounds is off. You want that feeling, right? And so confidence, let's say, okay, well, I want to be more confident. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that, but let's dig a little deeper. Let's go a little bit more. Confidence. Okay, so what about confidence can we attach to your core values? Well, you might say, well, I want my husband to look at me or my partner to look at me and I want them to be like, think I'm really pretty. I want them to think I'm sexy. I feel like our relationship is lagging lately. And by the way, when you're a mom, it's so hard to maintain a really healthy relationship with your partner, okay? Because you're both tired, you're both stressed, you're both just trying to do the parent thing. So anyways, I go back to this, but yeah. And so you mentioned like, okay, well, I really value my partner. Like I want him to like notice me and I want us to go on dates again. And I miss that adventure that we used to have. And I just feel like we've lost that. And I think that if I lost this 20 pounds, like I would just have this more confidence to like be brave and be bold and bring up conversations that I've always wanted to have. And that's great. Listen, this is where the magic happens, right? Because it's no longer, I want to lose that 20 pounds. It's, I want to create a better relationship with my partner. I want to be confident enough to bring up these conversations to have with my partner. I want to wear that dress that I've had in my closet for years and go to that really cool place. Like I value adventure, maybe value adventure. And I want to go to that really cool restaurant down the street. And if I lose that 20 pounds, like that could be something I can look forward to. That can be something that I can attach this goal to. So when I wake up at 5 a.m. and I want to snooze my alarm, I can say, okay, I'm really tired, but no, this is more than 20 pounds. This is about changing the way I experience life. This can mean a better relationship with my partner. And that's just one example. I'll give you another example of how you can connect your core values to your goals to get more motivation to do them, right? To continue them. So let's say you're somebody that will just stick with the 20 pounds thing. So let's say you want to lose 20 pounds and you have a toddler and maybe your toddler is like mine and loves to play with choo-choos or play with trains and you're on the floor and you're always building and your dang back hurts. It's crazy how like, as we get older, you're like, man, like my back's starting to hurt. Like there's like an age you hit when you're like, all right, my back's starting to hurt a little bit. So this is a sign I'm getting old. But, so let's say you're on your knees and you notice like, oh, like you're getting up and you're sore and that extra weight on your body. Not only do you not like what it looks like in the mirror, but you notice that extra weight on your body is causing you pain and discomfort. And you realize you're not as flexible. Your kid coming up to you, mommy, play with me. And physically can't for more than like 10 minutes because you're in so much pain. So we've now attached that goal to a very important core value of family, right? And as a mom, we value family. I know that's going to be somewhere on your list of core values, maybe your top 5, maybe your number 1, I don't know. But if we can then, okay, we're digging deeper. How can we attach these goals that we have and the small habits that are required to reach these goals, these consistent, painful habits sometimes that are just like, sometimes a thorn in your ass. How can we continue to do those things on the days where we do not want to do it, right? And that's when you got to dig deep and you got to think to yourself, okay, what are my values? How am I intrinsically motivated? Intrinsically inside, how can I draw on more than just wanting to look good or just wanting to see that number on the scale change, right? Because that scale means nothing to you. Literally, I could bring a hammer and I could just smack the shit out of it and it would be gone. It would be dead. And you might be mad at me and I'd have to go buy you another one. But the point would be, I couldn't go up to your kid. Okay, this sounds really bad. I'm not going to say it's your kid with the hammer. Anyways, you would protect your child, right? Like the scale means nothing. Your child means everything. And if that means waking your ass up at 5 a.m. and getting in a workout in, even if it's not your best workout, it's some workout, it's better than nothing. And you are showing up and you are saying to your child, you matter to me. I care about you. This is bigger than me. This goal that I have to lose 20 pounds, it's so much bigger. It means so much more. It means being able to lay on the floor and roll around with your kid and have fun with him. It means your husband winking at you and you feeling that like butterfly in your stomach again, like you did when you first met. It means going on adventures. Like if you value nature, taking a girls trip, right? Like go on a girls trip and hiking like several miles and not being completely winded and feeling so out of shape and so embarrassed and being just, oh, like, what happened to me, right? We have to start attaching our goals to things that matter to us. because I've already said it, but I'm going to say it again. It's going to be fucking hard. It's going to be so hard. It's going to be so hard. And there will be days where you would rather bang your head against a wall than meal prep. But if we can find ways to make it matter enough to us, we're not going to stop. We won't stop, right? And that is the difference between somebody who quits and somebody who keeps going. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's still going to be freaking hard. One thing that you can do, one little thing right now you can do right now is go grab a Post-it note. If you're driving in the car, don't do that. Just wait till you get home. Put your child's name on the Post-it note. Seriously. Put your children's name on the Post-it note. I don't know how many kids. If you have 2, 3, 5 kids, I don't know. One kid. Put their name, your partner's name on a Post-it note. Put the name of the place you want to travel to on a Post-it note. Something that only means something to you. Nobody else would know why their name is on a Post-it note, but you know what it means. Stick it somewhere where you have to walk by it every single day. Stick it by your nightstand. Stick it on your alarm clock. So when you wake up and you see that name, my son, Brian. So if I see Brian's name on that sticky note, instead of hitting snooze, I look at Brian's name and I think, no, I'm not going to snooze that. He means way more to me than this 5 minutes of sleep that probably isn't going to extra sleep that isn't really going to do me any good anyways. This matters to me. I'm done with I'm done with my own bullshit. I am worth it. He is worth it. And the experiences I want to have in the body that I want is worth it. And I bet you wake up. I bet you get your ass up, you go downstairs, you sip your coffee, and you get to work. That is the difference between giving up on your goals and keeping them. And there's a lot more there. And other episodes, I'll kind of go into how to build on that and how we can use habits and stacking our habits with things that we enjoy so that it becomes easier, and stacking our habits with our values. For example, like taking family walks to get in some extra steps as opposed to just taking walks or walking on the treadmill, right? And so today, I hope that this was kind of like a wake-up call for you. I really do. Because it is the time. This is the time. This is the moment where you get to decide. We're mid-January. It's cold outside. It's dark. It's dark when you wake up. It's dark when you go to sleep. It's hard. It's depressing as fuck. But this is your chance to break the cycle. This is your chance to show up and be the mom you've always wanted to be. Or the person you've always wanted to be. You get to decide every single day, every little action is a decision. It's a choice. I know you're thinking, well, no, it's not a choice. It's not a choice. I have to do this. I have to do that. No. It is a choice. Everything is a choice. You could choose not to go to work, but you're going to get fired, right? It's a choice. And some choices have bigger consequences, and some choices have smaller consequences. But I want you to truly consider, what is the consequence of waking up tomorrow, or if it's early today, skipping your workout today, skipping your workout tomorrow. Oh, I'll just get takeout. I don't need to meal prep today. You know what that does? It's a small little consequence. You're not going to gain a bunch of weight after eating one takeout meal. You're not going to, lose all the muscle you've gained. But what happens is that little consequence is you are slowly telling yourself that you're not worth it. That kid on that sticky note isn't worth it. That the experiences and the life that you want to live isn't worth it. And you're also telling yourself that you can't do it. You are literally signaling to your brain that let's just take the easy road. Let's just take the easy road. Let's just go back to what we always do. What you always do? Has that gotten you the results in the past? No. I'll answer that question for you. It hasn't. And this is like mama to mama here. Because I love you. I do. I'm here for you because I love you. I genuinely mean that. And I know how freaking hard it is. I know how tired you are. But you got to pick yourself up. You got to prove yourself wrong. You got to start building up the belief in yourself. You got to have confidence in your ability to show up even on the hardest of days. Because I'm going to tell you right now, going to the gym or going to your basement or working out or whatever it may be, doing a workout video with your kids, those are all great. But on the days that you show up and you do the damn thing, when you're freaking tired, you're going to feel so much better when you're done. Every single time. Every single time. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that you have that fire lit inside and you're ready to tackle those goals. Continue to tackle those goals and get after it. And if you're interested, if you look in the show notes, there will be a link to a video where I explain to you how to use the core values worksheet, activity, whatever you want to call it. And you'll be able to use this activity to kind of find what your core values are. And then I kind of walk you through how to align your goals with those values. So with all that being said, thank you so much for sitting passenger seat with me and sipping your coffee and learning how to balance nutrition, fitness, motherhood, all of the things. And if you could do me a favor and you could share this with another mom, because the more moms that hear this, the more moms I can help. And if you really want to help me out, you can leave a review. You can share this on your Instagram, tag me, Find Balance with Britt, and let me know what you think. I am just so excited to see you in the next one. All right.